glad that you are back to 0 to 60 motoring once again for another car episode. Now, back in 2011, the Volkswagen Group, that is let me say the Audi, which is a subsidiary of Volkswagen, they thought that people were into crossovers, and because the Q5 was a little bit expensive and the Q7, they decided to launch the Audi Q3, which is a smaller, let me say a compact crossover, but with good ground clearance for those people who want something like a Golf or the Audi A3, but bigger and of course with good ground clearance. And that is how the Audi Q3 came into production. And remember, 0 to 60 motoring seeks to give you unbiased and trusted car advice such that we make your car purchase and ownership journey easy. So today I'll be reviewing the 2015 Audi Q3, and I'll be telling you the good and bad sides of this car. So make sure you subscribe and become part and parcel of 0 to 60 motoring. And if you want to purchase a car, ring us through the number below or write to us on 0 to 60 motoring. We'll tell you the pros and cons of each car such that we make your car ownership journey easy. Let's get straight into the 2015 Audi Q3 1.4 TFSI review. So what exactly is the Audi Q3? Now the Audi Q3 is built on the Audi A3 and the Volkswagen Golf platform, and it shares most of its components with the Volkswagen Golf and the A3 because they are cars built on the same platform. Now let's start with the looks of this car. Well, when you're looking at this face, you realize that you have these 4 rings, which is Audi's logo, of course, and because this is a 2015 generation, but the Audi Q3 was launched in 2011. In 2015, they managed to revise this face a little bit. They added this chrome finish which encloses this grille. You also have these daytime running lamps, and because this is a base model, you don't have fog lights, but you have these headlight washers here. The lights here are of course LED, and they are automatic. And so from the face you can see it's let me say a bulge, something like an Audi A3, which is let me say somewhat bigger. On the side profile, what you are seeing here, this Audi Q3 looks like a big hatchback, basically an Audi A3 which is raised. I'll use that once. Now starting with these wheels, these are 17-inch alloy wheels. This is the base model or the entry level. In the bigger one, which will be the S-Line or the 2.0 liter TFSI, the wheels are kind of big. Actually, they normally stretch up to 19 inches. We have these side mirror winkers, and of course when you're looking at this car, you have these lines which stretch from the front to the rear, of course to improve the aesthetics of this car. When you're looking at this roof, it slopes to the rear side. Of course it eats into the boot space, but that is what gives this car the aesthetics most probably you will be interested in. Coming to the rear side of this Audi Q3, you realize that it's beautiful. Of course, you have these good looking taillights, and then you have these sequential indicators which normally slide to the outside. They look good actually. Then below it we have this TFSI. We also have these 4 rings here because this is of course an Audi car, and then we have this Q3 badge here. So when you're looking at this car from the rear side, it is somewhat a big hatchback. Actually it's you will now realize why I'm saying these are fat, or it's a taller Audi A3. So what are the engine options when you're purchasing the Audi Q3? Let's know what is under the hood. Now this is the entry level Audi Q3. It is powered by the conventional 1.4 liter TFSI, which is an engine which is applied in many Volkswagen products. It's the same engine you're finding in the Volkswagen Golf and in the Audi Q3, actually even in some versions of the Volkswagen Tiguan. Now this engine makes a 148 brake horsepower, which is channeled to the front wheels only via 7-speed. Actually it's a 6-speed S-tronic gearbox. This is the entry level 1.4 turbo petrol, 148 brake horsepower, 6-speed automatic transmission driving the front wheels. But if you need more power, there are other engine options. The best, of course, best engine I'll say for this Audi Q3, it's a 2 liter TFSI engine. That is the same engine you're finding in cars like the Volkswagen GTI and some versions of the Volkswagen Tiguan. It's a punch engine, and actually it makes more than 200 horses, and in that regard you are going to gain one thing. When you're buying the 2 liter version, that's the turbocharged version, it normally gives you all-wheel drive. In Audi we normally call it quattro, all-wheel drive. So if you're going for the 1.4 liter, be sure you're going to have a two-wheel drive, but the 2 liter gives you all-wheel drive. But now if you want fuel economy and you are scared that the 2 liter, that is the TFSI engine, may be thirsty than a camel, you're going for the there is a diesel version which is normally a 2.0 turbo diesel injection 2 liter TDI, which actually is a sweet engine if you are looking for fuel economy and performance in one package. So those are the 3 engine flavors when you are getting the Q3: 1.4, 2 liter TFSI and 2 liter TDI. Speaking of engines, you most probably want to know how reliable or easy to live is this 1.4 TFSI. Now when you put it side by side with the 2.0 liter TFSI engine, you realize that this 1.4 liter TFSI has a slightly lower reliability index. The reason is pretty simple. This is a small engine and you're trying to squeeze out a lot of power to move this car which weighs over 1.5 tons, and that's why I'm saying the 2 liter version is the best pick. It's a strong engine, and then the power to weight ratio for that 2 liter version, it's normally better. Now another thing you may want to know is that this gearbox, that is the Estronic gearbox, if you're purchasing any Volkswagen car, you'll need to service it immediately because sometimes it can turn out to be a lemon. So the sweet spot, the best engine to pick is the 2 liter TFSI engine. Of course, it's not going to give you the best fuel figures. Speaking of fuel economy, this is the base engine, 1.4 liter TFSI. Now, when Audi was launching this product, they wanted something that gives you better fuel figures. Of course, when you're going for this car, you want something that is a little bit easy on gas. That's why you're not going for maybe the Q5 or the Q7. Now, this 1.4 TFSI has some technology which is normally called the cylinder on demand, or let me use simpler words for the layman, cylinder deactivation. Now, when you are in traffic and you are doing low RPMs, some cylinders will go off, such that you utilize low fuel, but immediately you start gunning it and the car realizes that you are pushing it hard and you are demanding for more power, all the cylinders come back into life again. So when you have that cylinder on demand or cylinder deactivation technology here, the best fuel figures, the manufacturer of course quotes like that you'll get 20 kilometers per liter, but realistically, as a 7-year-old car, the best fuel figures you're going to get is 15 kilometers per liter for this 1.4 TFSI. But for the 2 liter version, well, it gives you more power and 4-wheel drive and better handling, fuel figures will drop to a paltry 11 kilometers per liter. Now that you've known the engine flavors, the drivetrain and the gearbox of this Audi Q3, let's know how the interior looks like. Let me give you an interior tour of this 2015 Audi Q3. Now, looking at the execution of this car for 2015, I could say that this interior crafting was actually good. Everything here looks quality. Well, these are base model, but the interior execution here may actually put a smile on your face, considering that this is an entry level. When you're stepping up to the higher trim, that's like the S-Line version, the interior of course is going to impress you. Now, let's start with the features of this cabin. Now, looking at this center console, we have this gear knob, which actually has this Estronic badge. It actually looks pretty well. And then here, we have this push to start button. I don't know why Audi decided to place it at such a weight position. Then on this center console, we have this electronic parking brake. We have these 2 cup holders here. We have a 12-volt charging port. And then inside here, we also have another USB port. And then this compartment is not big, of course, if you want you are looking at practicality. And then we're looking at the execution of this dashboard. Actually, it looks pretty quality. And then you have this 5.5-inch infotainment screen, which also serves as a reverse camera in case you are backing out. Yeah. That is how I could tell. The interior execution here is somewhat minimalist, not many features. And then we are looking at these seats, they are pretty comfortable. Actually, they are bucket seats, although they are fabric, but this fabric looks pretty well. You can tell that this product is from Target's a premium, let me say a premium market. Most probably when you're purchasing the Audi Q3, you need something that, let me say, spacious and is raised. As a co-driver here, this position I'm used to driving, this position is pretty good, and you have a good view of the road. Of course, it applies also to the driver. You look, it is an elevated sitting position. You also have this thigh support here, of course, for your comfort when you are doing long distances. Of course, these seats are manually adjusted, but I've already said this is an entry level. When you are stepping up to the S-line or the top line range, you are going to find electric seats with even memory settings. Now, looking at the spacing in this car, of course, you have a good amount of headroom. This is what you are getting because you're stepping up from the Audi A3 or the Golf, and the leg room, actually, I'll say it's pretty good. Using that as sitting position, you realize that rear passengers in this car, of course, have like, let me say, 10 centimeters of knee room, which is pretty good. The headroom is actually also good, and because this car doesn't have a sunroof, the headroom is actually good. Now, the seats here in this back are also pretty comfortable, and then even if these are middle seat, of course, it's not for tall people. You can see I'm already struggling, but for short runs, they'll still be comfortable. And then good thing when you're seated in these back seats, you also have these pockets to carry your luggage. In this seat, we have this isofix to fix the child seats. It's actually, from my analysis, if you're looking for space, and it's not that spacious, but it's somewhat an improvement from the Audi A3 and the Volkswagen Golf. Let's know what the boot looks like. Good thing with this tailgate, of course, it's electronically operated, and you open it that way. This is the amount of room you have. It's not big, of course, or it's not the most practical mid-compact crossover out there, but it's good. I'll say it can swallow like 2 briefcases, of course. It's also good learning that it doesn't come with a spare wheel. Below here, we only have the repair kit. In the event the trunk space is not enough, you can lower these rear seats, and they normally fall down 60-40 split, and at least you have now a more practical car. My overall analysis of this cabin, I could say that the trunk space, of course, is not one of the best, but if you are buying this, of course, you are not buying it as a luggage haulier. The Audi Q3 competes with the cars. Actually, the natural rival to this car is actually the Mercedes-Benz GLA. This one is cheaper than the Mercedes-Benz GLA because the GLA costs around 3.7 million shillings. This one costs around 3.2 million shillings, and maybe if you want something long, I'll say that the BMW X1 actually plays also in this segment. Though the BMW may be somewhat bigger, but at least later on BMW brought the X2, which is now the perfect competitor to this car. Now, if you have 3 million shillings and you want to stay within the VAG group, and you want something that is raised, of course, over the Audi A3, the Audi Q3 may hit your sweet spot. It's not the most practical car, of course, but it has a good driving position. The ground clearance is also pretty good in case you are traversing bad terrains. Of course, going for the 2-liter version gives you an all-wheel drive variant, which is actually better when going to slippery terrains. The overall analysis of this car is actually a beautiful offering. It's going to impress many, of course, for those who want something mid-compact and small that looks good, and let me say, something practical, especially when you're looking at the Kenyan roads. If you want value for money, of course, the best Audi Q3 is going to be the 2-liter TFSI or the S-line. It gives you a better interior, more features, more power, all-wheel drive. Actually, all those things you are looking for in a compact crossover. But if your budget is kind of limited, the Audi Q3, this is the entry-level 1.4 TFSI, will still serve those needs. Of course, not to the best level as the S-line or the 2-liter TFSI will do. That's all you need to know about this 2015 Audi Q3. Actually, it also applies to 2016 Q3s because now at this time this year we're going to import 2016 models. In case you have another question regarding this car, the powertrain, the competition, that's the GLA and the X1, you can also write to 0 to 60 Motoring, and we'll help you with the information you need, because the goal of 0 to 60 Motoring is to give you trusted and unbiased car advice. So guys, let's catch up next time, and make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you learn more about cars.